Right, we've hit, yes, I can't believe I'm saying this. I want to celebrate when I'm saying it. We've hit our last international break of the year. It feels like there's one every 3 weeks at the moment, but now's a good time to reflect on how the season has gone so far. So I'll just give you the headlines. Obviously, games played 11, 8 wins, 2 draws, and only that one loss against Liverpool, which I'm still bitter about it. I won't lie, because that game had a draw written all over it, and it was a moment of magic which changed it. But it is what it is. So because of this, I decided that it might be a good idea for us to do some awards. And the thing that I love about awards is nobody ever agrees. So we'll find out if that is the case now or not. So I'm gonna start with most underappreciated player. And I'll go to Charles first.
Is this underappreciated by Arsenal fans or the wider football world?
Ooh, I would say by Arsenal fans. Let's keep it. This is inside Gooner, so let's keep it Arsenal related.
I mean, that's really hard. I just think everyone appreciates everyone in this team. There's just a lot of love for pretty much everyone in this team. I mean, I from the wider football world, I probably would have said Jurrien Timber, because I just really think a lot of people are sleeping on just how good he is. But as Arsenal fans, I would absolutely hope that we all know exactly how good he is, because we see it week in, week out. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would, with Arsenal fans, certainly in the start of the season, I would probably have said Leandro Trossard again there. But I think he's shown to everyone just how important he is. I mean, go back to the summer, people were, basically happy to push him out the door, as some people were. And when the news that he'd been given, a bit of a pay rise without an actual extension of the length of the contract, that really stirred the pot, certainly on social media anyway. But as Clive was saying, what he's shown in the whole season, but certainly in the last batch of games, is just how effective he can be, how important he can still be. I think he's shown a really good mindset to do that as well. He's come through. I'm sure he would have been aware of how he was viewed by some sections of the fan base, certainly in the summer. And to do what he's doing now, I think he deserves a huge amount of credit. So maybe I'd say him, but it's very tight. As I said, I think the fan base really does appreciate pretty much everyone in this team now.
Yeah, Clive?
Yeah, it's hard. I'm just going to pick a player so we can talk about him. Really. I think because I think we can all recognise what we have here, the quality of the squad. So I think. I'm not sure he's underappreciated, but I really appreciate what he's doing for us. I'm going to say Calafiori. I think we all knew he was a good player. He can never last more than 2 games in a row, and his fitness declined throughout the season. But now he seems to have found a calf muscle, and he's out there on a regular basis. I think he's really transformed a lot of how he plays on the left-hand side. And I think it's just his movement and his general presence on the pitch and assurance when the ball comes. When the ball comes, no matter what angle it arrives, he's able to deal with it. He can threaten the goal. He can threaten the box. He can go on the outside. He receives on the inside. He just moves to the right-hand side of the pitch. I think when you look at football, and we all love our football, if you can think another left-back that does what he does, then I'm here all day, right? So I think he's unique. I really do. And a unique presence and his ability to finish. I just think he's excellent. I think he's challenging many structures about how we look at the game. And I think there's more to come. I really think his talent is absolutely sky high. And he might have been on that game, so correct me if I'm wrong, because Charles is better at numbers with me. Was he the youngest player on the pitch for us at that game? I think he may have been, right? And we forget how young he is. So Charles is thinking, and this is it. He's a young player, and I just think he's doing so well.
I think he definitely was the youngest player on the pitch. Yeah, he would have been.
Charles.
Yeah.
I threw it at you, mate. I know your brain works.
I agree. I mean, I was watching Calafiori again at the Burnley game. He was where the press box was right down that flank in the first half. And it wasn't so much I was watching Calafiori, but I was watching the Burnley defenders and midfielders drop back to try and cover Calafiori. And they were all pointing to each other. They were like trying to pick him up. And he was confusing the hell out of them. Like, it must be so difficult to play against, because you just don't know where he's going to go, who should be covering him. And that just creates space for others. I mean, everyone says it. He's a sort of, he creates chaos, doesn't he? And he genuinely does. When you watch the other team trying to pick him up, he's such a handful.
Yeah, he's a bit of a maverick as well, and he can definitely finish. He's got a good strike on him, that's for sure. Both great suggestions, by the way. Trossard was the one that I was going to throw in there, but then Calafiori, a great suggestion as well. You know, keeping Miles Lewis-Skelly out of the team, which I guess I'm not trying to influence you guys, may lead me on to the next category, which is who needs more minutes. And for this one, I will go to Clive first.
Well, I've been led to water, haven't I? So, but I think we probably all pick this player. I think from top of our heads, given recent stuff in the news, shall we say? I'll leave a bit of that for Charles on the table. So, so basically, I think Miles has done an amazing job in his career so far. So I was lucky enough to go to LA last summer, and he was just coming into the group, and I never thought that he'd end up being basically playing in the Bernabeu in the Champions League quarterfinals a few months later, and all of us wanting him to start. And that's how quickly it's happened for him. His appearances, particularly in Europe, have been really, really good. And I think he's done a fantastic job. But I also feel the game has just developed away from him slightly, not fully, just developed away from him slightly. And I think Trossard's having to play more minutes maybe doesn't quite suit that combination for him. And sometimes tactically you end up with a solution and it's just you're not the best person for that solution. But I also went to the Atletico Madrid game and watched him play in that game. And European games really suit his skill set. The referees are more friendly to him. He gets the fouls, whereas Michael Oliver will wave fouls away when he gets fouled, and it's a bit risky. The way he plays is a bit more risky in the Premier League. But I love how he plays in Europe, and where it's less aerial and less physical, shall we say. I think he's so suited to that. So we're lucky to have him. We just have to wait for the game to come back to him. You know, sometimes we go through tactical phases and it will come back to him. In the meantime, I'm hoping he can be working on his game, developing the parts of the game that he needs to. You know, shooting, maybe even dead ball taking, crossing. We all know he's working on that. And this is an opportunity as a young player to say, you know what, I've got here really fast. Now breathe, and can I develop on those parts of the game that make me undroppable? You know, and this is part of the challenge of football. It's not just a bed of roses. So don't stress too much about some of the stuff that's out there. Just hope he's developing, which I'm sure he will do, because his attitude is spot on.
Charles.
Yeah, I mean, I just absolutely agree with pretty much everything Clive just said there. I don't. I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk about England at some point, but I'm not a massive fan of the noise that's sort of coming out there about Miles Lewis-Skelly at the moment. I don't think it's a very good look on the manager, first of all, and how it's been reported as well. But I don't have any massive concerns about Miles at the moment. I think there is an opportunity maybe for him to get a few more minutes. Like I said, I thought against Sunderland he could have come on. You know, he could have started in midweek against Prague, but then I understand you're trying to get Hincapié up to speed at the moment, and that was a good opportunity to get some proper minutes into his legs for probably the first time this season. But he's a 19-year-old kid who is his career trajectory since breaking into around the first team has just been on that direction. You can't continue to go like that when you're not, you know, there's going to be bumps along the road. And at the moment, you know, he's at one of the biggest clubs in the world that is competing for the biggest trophies in the world. You're just not going to be guaranteed game time as a 19-year-old. You're not going to be guaranteed game time as a 20 to 27, 28 fully established international. So you just got to bide your time a little bit. And it's a big learning process for someone like Miles Lewis-Skelly. And I think this could be a good thing for him at the moment, sort of realising, as Clive said, it's not a bed of roses all the time. There's going to be ups and downs. And you know, Miles' his attitude is fantastic. His support network around him is absolutely brilliant as well. So I'm not massively concerned. I mean, in answer to your question, I think he is probably the one I would like to see get a few more minutes. I mean, Ethan's up there as well. I think while Martin Odegaard was out, maybe Ethan could have been used a little bit more. But both of them, I don't have massive concerns over it, I have to say, at this stage.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers. I mean, I don't see it going the same way as Emil Smith-Rowe, but, you know, Smith-Rowe was a fan favourite and then he was out of the team mainly because of injury and then couldn't find his way back in because the team moved on. I don't think it'll be the same for Miles Lewis-Skelly. I hope not anyway, because, you know, he's just such a nice boy, but also a sensational talent. Right, next category then. I am going to go for what's impressed you the most so far this season. Maybe what or who, I guess. You know, like, it's up to you. Interpret that how you will. Charles, we will start with you.
I mean, it's got to be the defence, really. It's not a massive surprise, I have to say, but they've been so good, so solid. I mean, Gabriel's just been a monster in both boxes. And yeah, I mean, it's just, I know we touched on it at the start. Sunderland was a slight little dip from what we've come to expect, but that is going to happen. But on the whole, they've just been the bedrock that they have built for this team. And so they deserve huge credit. But no, I mean, I suppose the forwards do as well, because there's been so many injuries, and yet they've found ways to win. They've been scoring goals. Trossard and Martinelli stepping up when they've really needed to, when a lot of people were writing them off in the summer. So there's lots of potential answers, I suppose, to that. But the defence, the way they've done it, the records they've broken, I mean, it's just been hugely, hugely impressive. So probably that.
Clive?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the centre midfield balance for Zubimendi and Rice together. I've really enjoyed it, and from pre-season, I think the Bilbao game, they started to play more as a sort of a double pivot as such, but with a lot more freedom. Sometimes they're ahead of the play, sometimes they're behind into the back four. I love what they've done and how they've worked together and coexisted. I think it's changed how we play significantly. I think it's allowed us to sort of overcome the missing of Odegaard, because Zubimendi's taken a lot of the creativity from that, and we haven't missed him as much, although we all know he's a top player. I think it's allowed Rice to be in positions behind the ball a lot more, where he can see the game, go forward and affect it when he feels it. I felt last year he was ahead of the ball too early and coming back into midfield, which isn't really his skill set. He's got real defensive alertness to really see what's happening, but also recognise when we need to drive forward and create momentum that way. So I think those two, I think they've changed how we play significantly by being sensible and forward-thinking with their passing. So yeah, I really enjoyed them,
You guys have picked the perfect two answers for that, so I'll just throw a bit of it. Not a silly one, but just, it's kind of a little while back, but Andrea Berta coming in and just being able to, I don't want to say boss Mikel Arteta around, because I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but they seem to have a really great relationship, and Berta seems to be able to steer Mikel Arteta in certain directions. Whether that's whether Mikel Arteta is fighting that or not, I don't know. But before Andrea Berta came in, it felt like Arteta was kind of the single person who decided what's what, whereas now it feels like a much more cooperative approach, which is great to see, and hopefully that will continue. Right, we're gonna do two more. I'll save the big one till last. The one that I'm gonna, this one is quite big as well, I guess. Prediction for the rest of Arsenal season, maybe league position, cup competitions we win. So I'm kind of trying to do this like an award ceremony, so you'll understand what I mean when I give you the last category. But prediction for the rest of Arsenal season, Clive.
Oh, crikey.
Good luck, Clive.
Yeah, Charles was thinking, don't ask me. I'm thinking, yeah, I can only see one thing. I just want us to win the league, really. That's where I am. I think everything that we've done, all the changes that we've made, if you look at the club, we've made a lot of changes around the back room. I'm sure we're going to come on to that. Also, the players that we've signed, the players that we've re-signed, everything is pointing to one direction. We have a 3-year window that we've created for ourselves with player contracts to go and win some big stuff. And it needs to start this year. And if it does, I think the confidence it will give, maybe we underestimate it. I think we underestimate winning sometimes, We're so on this journey and we forget what it feels like to really win something big. I happened to be at the Emirates when the Women's won the Champions League, and I'd forgotten how great that feels. And could you imagine that for the men's team, winning the league or winning the Champions League? It'll be life-changing for many, many people who haven't seen us do it before, And so I do think to win the league this year is what I'm all focused on. So that'll be my prediction, shall we say.
Charles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm loath to do a prediction because I'm a really superstitious guy. But I mean, as Clive said, for me, if there's one thing that I could win, if there's say you can only win one trophy this year, I mean, I wouldn't want to limit myself to that. But if it was, it would be the Premier League. I just think it's the ultimate test. We've been so close the last few years. As Clive said, there's a lot of people in that stadium now who've never seen it happen, who've never experienced what it feels like. the utter joy around the ground, outside the ground, in the ground, seeing a trophy being paraded around, and what it would give to this group of players and the confidence it would give for them. You know, there's an opportunity here with this team, as Clive says, with the contracts that have been renewed and the players who have been signed. There's an opportunity here. It will be difficult, but there's an opportunity to really, you know, go on and create a bit of an era. And I would just love to see them take that opportunity, because they're good enough to. You know, they easily could have done it in the last couple of years, and they would have absolutely been worthy winners had they done it. And I just feel like they deserve it. I feel that the work that the club have done off the pitch deserves it. So, yeah, I mean, I predicted at the start of the season Arsenal would win the Premier League, and I'm not changing my prediction now. And I've seen nothing to make me question my decision in this early part of the season, although there is obviously a long, long way to go.
I like the sound of that, Charles. Yeah, I mean, I'm completely in agreement with the two of you. You know, for me, the league, that's what I want. We would obviously never turn our noses up at the Champions League, let's be honest. But, you know, the league is what, you know, determines kind of how successful your season has been in terms of the endurance it takes to win the league. I'd love us to win both. You know, I'm not a superstitious person. I'll just say it on the podcast. Champions League and Premier League double. Bosh. There you go.
I tell you what, but I do think the squad's good enough to do that. By the way, you know, it's absolutely well equipped to do that. It's, you know, we're talking about something the club has never done before, obviously, in winning the Champions League. So it's very, very hard, and you're going to have to beat some top teams to do it. But I do think, you know, we saw it last season. We were so close. You know, if we could go back and replay that first leg against PSG again, I would absolutely think we'd see a different scenario play out in that. So we were so close last season. We're definitely good enough to do it. But you need a lot of luck to go your way, and obviously, as last season showed, you need players fit at the end of the season when it comes to the big moments. But yeah, I wouldn't limit myself to just the Premier League. I think it's good enough to go on and win more than that. But that would be the one I go for.
Well, listen, after we smash Bayern Munich in a couple of weeks' time, then everyone will be feeling completely different, eh? Right. I can't wait for the comments on this. Right.
Charles Watts says Arsenal going for the league double. He's guaranteed it.
Guaranteed. Definitely haven't guaranteed it.
The last one we'll do, hopefully, will be less controversial. Just your player of the season so far, I guess. And I can't remember who went first. I think Clive went first last time, didn't he? So, Charles, It's over to you.
Oh, it's really tough, isn't it? I think probably Big Gabby. I think just for the impact he's had at both ends of the pitch, you know, he's such a leader. When you look at where he was a few years ago to where he is now, I mean, I genuinely think he's up there with in the conversation to be the best centre back in the world at the moment in terms of how he influences games at both ends of the pitch. He cut the errors out that he used to sort of every so often would pop into his game, and he's totally cut that out, really. And I just think he's been brilliant. But I think Declan Rice has been magnificent as well. As Clive said, Zubimendi's just been right up there with the signing of the summer in terms of Premier League players as well. So there's a lot of players who could be up there for it, but I think probably my pick would be Gabriel.
Clive?
Yeah, Charles left me timber on the table, so I'm going to take it. I think he's been excellent. It's easy to say that he's been excellent, but that right-hand side is so reliant on Odegaard, and he's come in there and just provided so much attacking impetus. His box touches and box entry numbers are really, really high. We all thought the Saka Odegaard White thing was no one would get near it, and he's just come along and he's doing almost two jobs, you know. And defensively, he's without peer, in my opinion. You know, he gets so tight to people, just tears through them and takes the ball off them and just runs away. And he's like, if you watch some of the games, I remember watching the Anfield game, and I was a bit nervous. And first ball goes into the winger, and he just goes straight for him, just takes it and just runs away. I'm thinking, oh, we're here now, and he gives me such confidence that we're such a robust team and such a strong team to really match anybody in these wide areas. So I think it's been magnificent. And I think he would have been one of the underappreciated players for maybe last season, but I think we all really appreciate him now. So it's not a surprise. And I just wish he never got that injury, because I truly believe if he'd have been playing that season, we'd have won the league that season. Just give me 25 games. It would have been enough. To go out in the first game, I think we now know how big that really was.
Yeah, I agree. I was nailed on. That title would have been Arsenal's if he hadn't got it.
Yep.
You know, we missed out by a point that season. Imagine having Timber for half of those games. It was absolutely, I agree, 100%.